There's a story about a guy named Ivan the Great of Russia. He became the first Tsar of Russia in the 1400s, and he had a goal to conquer the world. And in the midst of trying to conquer the world, he kind of forgot to get a wife. So he figured out that some people in his inner court came in and said, listen, if you want this kingdom to reign forever, you're going to have to get a wife so you can have a lineage. And so he went and he said, okay, well, find me a wife. And here's the deal. She needs to already be royalty. That's really the only kind of stipulation I have. She needs to be royalty. And so they went out looking for her, and they found a girl, and her name was Sophia. And she was from Greece. And so they decided that she was a princess in Greece, and so they said, okay, if this is her, then we're gonna get her for you. And so Ivan said, great. So he had to go to Greece to get married. So he's on his way to Greece, and he got word that they said, okay, there's two things that have to happen if you want to marry Sophia. And he said, okay. So first of all, they said, you have to become a Christian. They said, and second of all, you have to get baptized, water baptized, into the Greek Orthodox Church. If you do those two things, then you'll be able to marry her. So Ivan said that'd be fine. And as they were on their travels, his men decided, well, if our king is going to do this, if our czar is going to do this, then we as his men, we need to follow. We need to do the same thing. So we'll become Christians, and we'll be baptized into the Greek Orthodox Church. And so when they got there, they found out a little hitch in the plan. And the thing was this, is that you couldn't be a part of the Greek Orthodox Church if you were a paid soldier, which all of them were paid soldiers. So now they had a little problem on their hands. How do we stop doing one thing to be able to turn our lives over to God so that the king can have what he wants? So they came up with this plan. They went out into the water, and each man took his sword with him. I'm a big fan of swords. This one's a dull one, so don't be nervous. I'll just be standing by the first fruits bucket. And they came up with this plan. They said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to walk out in the water, and when they begin to baptize us, what we're going to do is as we go under, we're going to hold our arm up with our sword. And everything will go under the water except for our arm and our sword. And what that'll signify is that we are baptizing ourselves to God, but our sword remains out of the water so we can still be a soldier. In essence, what they were saying is, I will give God 90% of me, but the 10% they can't have. And the question I then had to ask myself when I read the story was, is there something in my life that I'm holding out of the water? That God's saying, give me everything. And I'm saying, God, I'll give you everything but this. Is it maybe for you a relationship, an addiction, your money? But there's something that you say, that's what I can't give up. Listen, if there's something you won't give up for God, then it's become your God. And I don't mean that to be rude. I just want to be truthful. If you say, I can never give that up, oh no, then you care more about it than you do God. Make sure God's the one that's telling you to do it. But if God is telling you and you know that God is telling you, say, I could never do that. I'll hold it out of the water so that I can keep this one thing for me. God can't use that. That needs to be the first thing that goes under the water. That needs to be the first thing that we say, God, here it is. I lay this down. Before I give you any of the rest of me, that's the important thing.